Hey guys, Brian from the PT channel here to talk about some fun facts and general information of The Walking Dead. Can't get enough of this stuff of The Walking Dead, so here's some information that we found from our sources online and just various other avenues of that. Let's get to it. First and foremost, NBC and HBO passed on the show. That's hard to believe, to think that HBO passed on it. NBC I could see possibly. HBO passed on this because they said it was too gory and violent. The same network that has Game of Thrones, True Blood. It's just crazy to think that too. The producer said we need to have our show the way we're going to do it. So luckily on AMC, that's what we got, and it's the biggest show out there. So HBO and NBC missed out on that one. All the filming is done in Georgia. There is no prison. It's in Senoia, Georgia. That's where Alexandria is, and they film in Woodbury as well as in Senoia. There's a couple other places that they film: Griffin, Grantville. They're moving, and Atlanta, of course. But they're moving around the state of Georgia. But there is no prison. That's in Raleigh, Georgia. That's a different little studio. So it's one of those that they broke it down. They made it. They broke it down, and it's not an actual prison. They made it as a set. The Herschel's farm was a farm that's privately owned. You're not going to be able to get to that on there too. You can learn out more information on the Atlanta movie tours and our other video. Check out that. You can see some pictures and video of what we got on there too. We highly recommend that. Season 1, a couple things. When Merle was on the rooftop, the SWAT team was called for that to see that they had a sniper on the roof. It's kind of crazy to think that, but it was filming. Of course, it was a set. It was there too that they were filming that. They explained the situation and it all went away. The same thing in season 1. There's a connection with Breaking Bad, the TV show. Awesome series on there, also on AMC. If you haven't, check it out. The blue meth was in Daryl's bag, and also the red Charger that Glenn took and stole. There was the same red Charger that was in that show as well. So that's pretty cool. The numbers are 5,000 to 1 walker to people ratio, so they got a lot of killing to do. So we don't know if that number will ever go away or get down to manageable numbers for that too. The weapons of the show are pretty awesome. They have real ones, replicas, ones for digital animation and editing, and it's pretty awesome to think that all that time and effort goes into that. But each weapon that they have, mainly the swords and everything, and not Daryl's crossbow, but they have digital versions, retractable versions, and real versions of them. Editing, also, that is a big note, is that the eye blinks of the zombies need to be digitally removed. They try not to have them in the shooting, but stuff happens, you have to blink. The actors have to blink, but it happens like that too. So the zombies don't blink, and the steam from people talking needs to be digitally removed. So the editing process has got to be such a tedious thing when they shoot, because they shoot from May to November, and October and November in Georgia can get kind of cold. So when you're talking or night shooting or something like that, and it's going to be, steam's coming out, and they have to get rid of that. The moaning is also added later by the zombies. They don't moan during the shooting. They add that for sound quality and not to disrupt the acting and the quality of them talking through it as well. So that's added later. The good news is that Rick is not in a coma, or he's going to wake up from this too. Robert Kirkman said it will not end with Rick waking up from a coma, as he dreamt all this from that too, which will be good news to hear, because that'd be a horrible way to end this great series, as him in a coma waking up is like, oh, what happened? I dreamt all this crazy stuff, but it won't happen. Robert Kirkman said so. The zombies on the show, they eat a variety of different things to replicate flesh and guts. They had mainly that ham soaked in vinegar, used chicken breast, and now they have a vegan option for some of the zombies as well. So it's just crazy to think that they have all this time and energy to go into what the zombies eat for the realism of the show. It's pretty great. Daryl and Merle are both not in the comics, and Sasha as well is not in the comics. But the big thing with this, you might have seen this somewhere, is Daryl did not read for Daryl, Norman Reedus did not read for Daryl. Norman Reedus read for a different part. Some say it was for Merle, some say he just read Merle's part because he wasn't sure on there. I don't know if they had it cast already for Michael Rucker, but ultimately the part of Daryl was not put in the script. It was added to have Norman Reedus be a part of the show, and thank goodness it did, because I cannot picture the show without Daryl and Norman Reedus being a big part of the show. So that was awesome to do that, and they made a good call with that. Greg Nicotero, Zombie Man, is playing he has played zombies on the show and will in the future. He bit Andrea's sister Amy. He was on the dumpster going after Glenn when Nicholas shot himself. So he's been in the know, and he's been there a bunch of times as well. Rosita, played by Christian Serratos, was in Twilight as Angela. So if you watch that, look for her in there too. Carl's stunt double is a woman. She's a tiny little woman. She played the stunt double for Sophia as well, and Penny, the governor's daughter. Her name is Savannah Jade Wehunt. She's played zombies on the webisodes and a couple other things, and taught Sophia or Madison how to play Sophia as a zombie when she came out of the barn on there too. So that's pretty awesome. So Carl's stunt double is a woman. I don't know if she still does that because he's a much older person and growing in season 6, but she was a stunt double early on. And the main one was in the pudding house. She was on the rooftop for a lot of that scene because he wanted to make sure that he wouldn't get hurt. Tara, played by Alanna Masterson, is kind of in a family of actors. Alanna Masterson is Tara on the show. She just had a baby in November. It was pretty awesome. She has 3 brothers that were on some hit shows. Christopher, who played Francis on Malcolm in the Middle. Danny, who played Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show. And Jordan, who also is on a show now called Last Man Standing with Tim Allen. So that's pretty awesome. Daryl's Crossbow is a Horton Scout HD 125, available at Walmart, but $300. Checking it online, we don't really see it anymore on there. We don't know if that information is old, or they took it off the market, or they upselled it, or they're changing things are on there too. They have different crossbows by Horton, and Horton's the manufacturer of it, but we can't really see it on there too. And also the thing is, Daryl doesn't fire arrows on the show. Those are digital arrows or put in there as props. He cannot fire a crossbow and think that it's not going to kill somebody. So he doesn't actually do that. It's a digital most of the time. The show, The Wire on HBO, has had 3 people on that show on The Walking Dead. It was Tyrese, Bob, and Father Gabriel, and now it's just Father Gabriel, but they were on The Wire as well. Robert Kirkman and the producers liked that show, and they brought all the good actors from that. So it was those 3. Like I said, Senoia, Georgia is where they filmed a lot of it. Also Griffin and a couple other places. Alexandria is in Senoia, so is Woodbury. Check out our video on that if you want to see what that actually looks like. Alexandria is a real town, real city. It's pretty awesome. The Walking Dead shoots May through November, Monday through Friday, around that area too. So if you want to see them, May through November, Monday through Friday, you might be able to see them. Check them out in Georgia on there. Let's see, the CDC in there was, like I said, is Cobb Energy Performing Arts. It's not a real CDC. The fictional King County, Georgia, there's no real King County, that's where Rick was the sheriff in, is a homage to Stephen King, who was a friend of Frank Darabont on there as well. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have a big connection with the show recently. Morgan, that episode we saw where he developed his bow skills and kicking butt and life is precious and becoming Zen master, was Eastman, was the character's name who taught Morgan. Kevin Eastman is a co-creator of the Ninja Turtles. Coincidence? Probably not. A shirt that Eastman wears when he teaches Morgan how to use a bow staff says, "Save the Terrapins" on it. Terrapins are turtles, save the turtles. There. In Eastman's house, there are pictures of turtles and turtle shells on there as well. So the other connection is that the actor, Stephen Ho, who played Donatello in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, the 90s movies with the suits, not the digital stuff, the real suits, taught Morgan how to do it. So Donatello taught Morgan how to actually use, or Lenny James how to be a bow staff fighter. And last thing we saw, Sasha, or Sonequa Martin Green, was pregnant last year, had her baby. You'll see in the episodes, if you watch the prior stuff, her shirts get looser and looser, and there's no buckle strap around there too. It gets looser on his jacket. Her jacket's on there too. She had a little belly bump. She's a tiny little person on there too. We met her and saw her at the Walker Stalker Con in Orlando. Definitely check out a Walker Stalker. She is a tiny little nothing, had a little tiny belly bump. She's a cute little pregnant lady who she was last year, and she's an awesome person, actress on there too. And her husband is actually on the show now. Kenric Green, also known as Scott on the show. He was on with Heath and Michonne in the infamous Glenn's episode where he got injured and Heath brought him back, and Michonne, they brought him back and he was injured, and he was just in the episode where Olivia tried to save his leg and bring him back to health. But his name is Scott on the show, and that is actually Sasha's husband, and they have a little baby together. So that's our fun facts. Like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And as always, thank you.